We lost 190,000 of population. We're one of 4 states that have lost population in the United States. Does that indicate that all these good tax rates and things that are happening are making people stay in New York State, get jobs, and be happy?
Well, what I think it indicates is that we've become more competitive as a state. I can only speak to what I know, which is the state has become a lot more competitive, has exhibited a lot more fiscal discipline than it has in other years, is making significant investments in infrastructure and education.
Why would they be leaving 190,000?
I'm sorry?
Why would they be leaving 190,000 in population when other states are growing?
You know, maybe it's too cold.
Well, let me ask you this. It is too cold, bad weather. You've heard of Tax Freedom Day, haven't you?
No, you'll have to remind me what Tax Freedom Day is.
No, I didn't remind you. I said you've heard of it, Tax Freedom. I just wanted to know if you knew about it.
The Tax Freedom Day?
Yes.
I'm not familiar with it.
It's a calculation. If you get the booklet they put in place, and they talk about the taxes in every state and the mandates and the regulations. Tax Freedom Day means when everybody in this room who has a job actually takes $1 home to spend for their kids' college tuition, their mortgage, to buy a Thanksgiving turkey. It's in the middle of May, January, February, March, April, May. In other words, every dollar you and I earn, and everybody in this state earns in New York, in this room earns in New York State, goes to local, state, and federal taxes until the middle of May. We're number 2 in Tax Freedom Day. In other words, we're way out there in terms of those 5 months. Number 1 is New Jersey and Connecticut. They're tied, dubious distinction of being tied for first. It's difficult for me to comprehend that some of the suggestions you're making about tax rates and programs and 190,000 in population leaving the state and being number 2 and not being able to take $1 home indicates that we're moving in a positive direction. That's a pretty bad indicator, isn't it, to be number 3 when you can take $1 home after you've worked for 5 months in the state of New York? Aren't we hoisted on our own petard? 45 other states think this federal tax bill is great. It's the highest tax states in the nation, us, Connecticut, New Jersey, California, who are having difficulties.
Yeah, it seems like it's all the blue states.
Well, because they're the highest tax states. You know, let's not forget that. You can call them blue, but blue means taxes. If it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, in New York State, it's really a tax, not a duck. And we've had a lot of ducks here. And to suggest that we're doing just fine with our rates and our taxes, and when these other categories really illustrate that we're not being that competitive in mandates, in regulations, it's difficult to blame the federal government for wanting to help 45 other states. And I agree with you. I paid my taxes early this year so I could get that write-off. But the only reason I need it is because all the other taxes are so high in the state of New York.